want them to do, what they want them to engage with us on. And we begin then to build a pathway to gain people, to grow that list, to entice them into the fold, right? With probably a couple, three different offers and or strategies. There can be some cold calling, you know, you've mentioned that, and I respect that. I think that cold calling is still good, but we've got to figure out in that cold calling, then what are we going to say in the cold calling to get them to do what, to get them on the list, so that now we can begin to prospect to them and or continue to add value to them while we're prospecting to them down the journey. Does this make sense so far?
Yeah.
How does it feel?
I think it's, how does it feel? It makes me dissect into what the real big end in mind is.
It really is, yes. And the reason that this is important is because you've got a lot of different ideas, and where you're at is exactly where I've been there in multiple different businesses over the years, many, many times. So I think it's just a part of the process. We kind of start out with a little bit of a shotgun, you know, because we're figuring things out and we don't have perfect clarity. So the only way that we can gain it, the only way that I've learned to gain that clarity is by going a vacuum. Okay, what's the one thing that I want to sell right now? This is not a lifelong commitment. This is not a sentence. It's a season, right? In this season, what I need cash flow, because the cash flow is going to be able to become seed to plant for other ideas, right? Things that I can do with some of these same clients, right? And so I'm realizing I'm still dark. So if we could focus on one product that we want to get people to get to, it may be that we sell them several products between point A and B, but or maybe not, but ultimately we want to get them here. So we've got to begin to take them on a journey. So the other goal that you've mentioned is that you need to add to your email list. So if we know what that end product is, then we can begin to work our way backwards and think, okay, how do I begin to find that kind of a client that's going to be attracted to this particular offer, right? And with that, you then either take some of the assets, either videos or webinar opportunities, or like I said, sometimes it's just as simple as a worksheet, you know. The whole purpose of that is not to sell something, it's to get them on your email list so that you can begin to build rapport and relationship with them, so that then you can sell them something that will benefit them. You with me so far? Yes?
Yes.
All makes perfect sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we've got 4 or 5 different things that we're trying to build at one time, it's going to get really messy, dude. And you're not going to be able to market. Your marketing is going to be confusing to people. Even your message is going to be confusing to people, because they're not going to know for sure who you are or what exactly it is that you do. You know what I mean? So it's not that you can't sell more than one product at once. You can, but you need to leverage one idea for right now, specifically as you're getting started. And it seems to me, whatever that one thing, I know you want to get into doing more one-on-one coaching and things of that nature, and I encourage that. But if I could give you a peek into your future a little bit, you also want to make sure that you have passive income products. And it looks like you've built some things where, in other words, you can sell that same hour to multiple people, right? Or that program, Paul would call it a continuity program. He's done this with Empowered Living with Brilliance, or Empowered Mentoring. You know, he created the lessons and he sold those lessons. He learned some of those in one-on-one coaching, fair enough, but he was selling it as a coaching program so that he could coach lots of people at one time. From that continuity program, that program that somebody can get in at any given time, because you're just teaching these lessons, whether somebody's just starting or, you know, they can plug in at any time and they're going to be able to start from where they're at. Okay. But then in that, you're going to find other clients that want to go deeper. They're going to say, you know what, this continuity program and this, boot camp or this learning platform thing here or whatever is very pertinent to me, and this is good. And Bart knows some things that I need to know. I need to go deeper down the rabbit hole with him. Okay. So you're actually selling them multiple things, and then you've got a premium package that involves you. Otherwise, you become unscalable because you can only coach so many people, dude, and keep your freaking head from spinning off your shoulder, you know? So how are you going to maintain your income in between point A and B? So if we can get this one big thing that we're focused on and we develop a marketing plan, and it's not that we just have one thing that pulls people in on the list that begins to get them to consider to do some of these other things with us or not. It's a couple of different things, and we test those to see what's effective. So again, that's where it might be a webinar. That's where it might be a free sneak peek, a preview to one of your boot camp things. You know what? Get your first 2 for free, and then you decide from there whether you want to continue on and pay XYZ or whatever. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Sure.
Does it help you?
Yeah, I think it does. I think there's I think, we get that for the last, 50 years, I've been gathering content. So we've got a lot of content. We've got a lot of stuff. We've got that. We don't need any more. And yet where my mind is, and the reason for me reaching out in the first place is I need somebody to say, boom, we're going to do this next. Boom, we're going to do this next. Boom, I don't need anybody to get me to convince myself I need to do that. I need to do what's next. So the end in mind, if we really look at the end in mind, would be, okay, let me just go with the end in mind. And that would be Lightspeed, the platform. That's the end in mind. Where do we want these people to go? We want them to go to the platform. The end in mind is to build 300 people that are on a subscription every month or pay a one-time fee to go to Lightspeed. Now, the challenge to that is, I don't know if it's a challenge, but let's go back to it. I'm just going to open it up again. And I'm just going to go, if that's where today's going to go, and we're just going to talk the end in mind, that's fine. And let's look at this. So I don't know what you can see, so I'll pull it up. So that would be the legitimate end in mind. And I've had this as an end in mind for some time. It's had some struggles, and I won't go over all that right now. So, but this is my Lightspeed platform. In it, like 3.5 hours, blah, blah, blah. So if I sent that, I know you've seen it, correct?
Yep.
Have you watched any of them?
What are you charging for that now?
I'm not. I haven't charged one person. I have a $20% revenue share. I pay $200 a month.
Okay. Do people have to give you anything like their email address to get this? And how are people?
Yes.
They do have to give you an email address to get to it? Okay. And how are they finding it? How are you getting
Nobody's finding it. I haven't marketed it. I haven't done anything with it other than, oh, by the way, current client, I've got this, you interested? I've had nobody jump on it to say, oh man, that's great. Everybody and his brother's got one of these. I get it. We, especially as we walk forward, if there's a lot of good quality courses, then we got a continuity program for sure. So this would be the end in mind. This would be, why am I doing a boot camp? So I can drive them here, right?
But you're not charging for anything here.
Well, I'm not saying I won't. I'm just saying I'm not.
Okay. Will this work as a continuity program?
Well, if I understand what continuity program is, absolutely. There's video 1, video 2, video 3. Yes. There's 4.5 hours of content on here. So
how many different videos is it? I'm sorry.
45.
45 different videos, and they're all about car sales, basically.
Basic car sales training. This is the boot camp I was going to do. This is it.
Got it.
Matter of fact, I'll probably take the videos off this, run one, talk about it. This is the foundation for the boot camp.
Okay. So if this is the ultimate goal, then everything needs to be about this. So.
Okay, so let's just stop a minute, okay? I'm I don't tell anybody my age, but I'm 64, got great energy, great mind, all that shit.
Yep.
So the reality though is, let's think 10 years down the road. Let's think 3 years down the road. Let's think 5. You're absolutely right. I don't want to sit around at 6:30 in the morning and do a live coaching. That's, no, I'm just doing it now because it pays me $100 for a half hour.
Yep.
So that's why. So I get that. This is where I want to drive them. Eventually, I want to have SIM on here as a course. I want to have what I call Leadership Mastery University, which is a continuity course. Every week they go on this and we do, I want everything to drive to this.
Yep.
Everything. So I want
Yep.
it to be my landing page. I want it to be, we'll call it Auto Mastery University, but I want to put another name on it, bartnolenberger.com, right? Everything drive right to this.
Yeah. Got it. That's perfect, dude. So yeah, I think that this is a great starting place. So again, I'm going to come back to what I'm hearing, and if I'm hearing something wrong, steer me out of the ditch. Okay. The let me not say it that way. Let me say it this way. Where are you stuck?
My mind is very much, there's an idea. The one thing.
Right.
I've wanted to do this for a long, long time, but it's not freaking easy to stand in front of a green screen and do videos because I'm so damn picky. So it takes me 20 videos to get one I like well enough to even send to an editor. So because of that, this project was developed. I made 10 grand. It was actually a $15,000 project. I collected 10 grand for a dealer to make it for him. I did that. I didn't quite finish, so I never billed him for the last 5 grand, and it was 10 grand. So it took me what I thought was going to be 3 months and took me a year.
Yeah. Well, okay. So for whatever that's worth to you, Bart, guilty as charged too, dude. It always takes more and costs more. You know what I mean? It just, projects like these it's kind of like building a house, you know. There's always just crap involved, or remodeling a house. Oh yeah, we're just going to do the bathroom. It's going to cost us 15 grand. No, it's going to cost you 25, and it's going to take about twice as long as you thought.
Whoops. You're muted. Somehow you're muted, buddy. You're talking, but I'm not hearing you. There you go.
You hear me now?
Yeah, I could see your hands moving, but I couldn't hear you.
Well, I've given it to you, man. All I was saying is that you're not an exception to the rule in that this took longer and maybe even cost more and was more effort than what you anticipated. It's kind of like building a house or remodeling a home. It's always more involved and takes longer and costs more money. So for whatever that's worth to you, the what you said, I think, is key, and kind of what I've been trying to help you with from the beginning. The point of the questions that I sent you were not so much to give me information, by the way. They were to cause you to begin to think about those things. So I would encourage you to think about those things even more. Although I think we've established, ultimately, we've made some great progress here. This is where we want people to go, okay? So if that's the case, then what we need to do is we need to go fishing. And if we're going to go fishing, we're fishing for people who ultimately will want to end up on this platform. So there's going to be excerpts, probably some smaller pieces of each one of these videos, or a particular one-liner or a particular outline of some of these lessons that you can begin to use to fish. Maybe you pull one of these out that is the one that people have told you more often, or you in your experience feel like this is probably the most valuable lesson of all of these lessons, you know? And maybe you begin to say, maybe you create some ad copy or a telephone conversation or whatever that says, do you struggle with X, Y, and Z? Do you want to know how to move from A to B? Have you ever struggled with, or do you wonder how the masters do blah, blah, blah? Hey, you know that guy in the car in your business that freaking is crushing everybody else, and you want to know how he gets all these repeat customers, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but It's that kind of a thing, and you're asking them because you're identifying you're fishing for the fish that has that particular pain point. They're like, yeah, Bart, I do freaking wonder how in the hell you do that. I have no idea. I've tried this and I've listened to all these gurus and I failed, you know, or whatever it is that their pain point is. And you begin to fish with different ways of fishing for that particular pain point in either Facebook posts, in your cold calling, you lead in with it. I'll tell you what, if that's you, then let me give you this free video. This free video is going to answer that question and teach you step by step exactly what you need to do to have or answer that particular question. Okay. And then you give it to them for their email address. Then you've got a follow up. Notice that you did this. Maybe you've got to figure out kind of what your pathway is from there, Bart. But basically what you're doing is you're ultimately trying to get them to buy into purchasing this platform, right? The whole entire thing. But either way, once you've got them on your list, you've got the opportunity to begin to prospect, to continue to add value and learn more about that prospect and what their pain point is, and begin to draw them deeper into the funnel, the proverbial funnel, right? Does that make sense so far? And does that help you?
Yep. Got it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Which one of these videos do you think has the most value?
There's a couple of them that it would get attention. So here's something I did, and I'm always looking at today. I'm always looking at how do I make money today, right? How do I turn this thing back on today? One of the things in our industry I've always looked at, what the boot camp was something, and I'm always just throwing ideas out and see if I get any response, right? I do it wrong a lot. So in other words, I think I advertised in just on a post on LinkedIn, hey, join it was another product, that DRC, direct results coaching. Didn't get a whole lot of response. The boot camp, I threw it out on LinkedIn. I don't remember if I threw it on Facebook. Hey, I'm doing a boot camp on October 3rd, October 6th. And I put a post on there. Not much, few, not much. So I know I'm not answering the question. But recently, what I know is that if I want to build my business, I need probably a way to get in there, to get their attention.
Yes.
At a car dealership is phones. There's three ways to get attention at car dealerships. Objections, well, actually, we'll talk two. Objections and phones and closing. There's three. So
that's what they're interested in. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they suck at phones. So if we think about how much they suck at phones, they need a process. So what I did yesterday, because again, I'm one day at a time trying to, how do I build a business? How do I build a business? This, the boot camp, okay? I've thrown that out a little bit. Now I'm on to, let's just say this is always going to be the end in mind, but I'm trying to get some momentum here. So
yeah, you're okay.
I got recordings. I got recording on my phone so I can listen to a phone call, and I've got a burner number so they don't, if they call me back, it won't come to my number. So the point of that is I called a big dealership yesterday and did a mystery shop. She was terrible. I made a recording of it, sent it to my email today. It's the last day of the month, so they probably won't even read an email, but tomorrow I'll send it out and say, hey, would you like some help with this? I can help you with that. If you like the way this is, that's great. God bless. If you want some help, I can help you. And based on what you're saying, it might be, boom, let's pull this video and send it to them. You want some help? I'll send this to you for free. Boom. Now, at least I got in the door. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I need their email though.
Right.
You've got to get them to opt in. That's the gap right there, okay? Because the reason you're doing this is because ultimately you want to draw them into a paid program. But
Right.
like you said, you've got to get them in. So let me back up just a second, Bart. You said they suck at the phones. What else is a pain point of theirs that they're aware of?
Well, in terms of a dealership, we got two different things here, right?
Well, let's talk about dealerships first, since that's where we started.
They suck at phones.
Okay.
They think they're better than they are, and they have recordings, but they don't really listen to them. If they do listen to them, they don't know how to fix it. So it's been an ongoing problem. So the recording is really strong because, in a nice word, I can say, hey, I just thought you might want to know this, not trying to stir it up, but I think this is something, if I were you, I'd probably say, hey man, what's the solution? If you're interested, go ahead and maybe I leave a voicemail, right? Because I don't know his email. Go ahead and send me an email and I will send you a free video. Now I got his email, right? So, um, so the question I always have is how do I get, that's a cold call example. Um, how do I get emails? I mean, I get the funnel thing. I'm reading Russell. I got my friend, I get, hey, let's do a video on YouTube that gets some, let's look for salespeople that are struggling. Let's put a video on YouTube. Let's do a free webinar. Let's lead them to the free, to a boot camp. Let's lead them from the boot camp to the learning management system. I get that, but I need somebody to say, do this, period.
I'm
And
trying to.
oh, I'm not saying you're not. I'm not. I'm just saying that's what I need. So
Let me ask you this. Let me go a slightly different angle. Can you buy a list?
I would certainly think so. Now let me show you what I got. This is one that Chris got for me, and it's from California Dealerships. I don't know if you can see that. It's an old one. Let me show it to you. And my thinking, and I'd be real straight up with you. Martinelli expires, I think, next month. I don't think I'm going to continue on with him currently. It's too expensive, and it doesn't make any sense. Okay, Josh Pies, I've got, I think, one or two more. The chances are I want to make sure I don't have three people telling me the same thing with three different voices.
Absolutely.
And I've got to look at that.
Yeah.
I like the way you are the kind of the David. You're not going to bullshit me. You're just going to say that, Bart, this is the way it's got to be. And the problem with Chris, my video guy, is he's too busy. He's a ClickFunnels. He's got three different businesses. He's 4 to 5 days to respond, and he's done a lot of good things for me. But I'm thinking one of the problems is you can tell I'm probably frustrating to you because I go so fast and I'm all over the map. Well, Chris is the same way. So we've got two high eyes talking to each other, and it's not working real well. So my point is, I believe that you can help me. So when I said I want help, I want this, I believe that you can help me. Okay. Here's a list. Can you see it?
Does it have emails on it? Because I don't see emails.
They're not their own. Well, it's a very old list.
Okay.
And let's look. There should be emails on there. In other words, a lot of these guys aren't even own the dealership anymore. Not all, but some. So
you're gonna get that with any list,
But there is emails on here. Where are they? Thought there was. Why am I not seeing it?
Yeah, it may not be, dude. I don't see it either. And all the cells seem to be there. In other words, it's going A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's not skipping letters.
Website.
There we go. Yeah, website. Excuse me, goodness. So let me pan back, and it's okay. We're going to go a little over today, and that's okay. I want to stick with you for about 7, maybe 8 more minutes because I've got another call. Okay, Bart?
Okay, buddy.
But I'm gonna hang with you here because I need us to make some progress here together today. So I appreciate, first of all, what you're saying, and I think you're on the right track. And I'm gonna I'm going to do what I can. And like I told you before, I'm not going to hang me up in a contract because I want it to work. And if it's not working, then I'm not going to hold you hostage over it. You know,
Mhm.
to be held hostage either, because if it's not working, I don't want to do it either.
Right.
Honestly.
Right.
Um, so, so if you can begin to think in terms of list building, um, I understand that you understand funnel and all that good stuff. And if that terminology seems frustrating to you or whatever, then just put it in a vernacular that works for you. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find interested parties. Let me tell you what we do. Okay, let me give you an example of a couple of things that we do so that maybe it'll give context as I'm trying to help you decipher and think through exactly what you do need to do, where it's coming from, and ultimately what we're driving toward. Is it, you think that'll help?
Yeah, say that again. I got a text. I'm sorry.
Okay, let me tell you what we do and
Yes.
do what we do,
Yeah.
that you can leverage that as context as we're working together to figure out what you need to do to produce the same result. Okay,
Got it.
or an even better result. So one of the reasons that I shared with you Textaful last week in that email is we have a couple of different what we call freemiums. They're giveaways. Okay. So if we do a radio interview, if we do a speaking gig, if we do a networking event, if we do a webinar, anything that we do, we always ask the audience or the individual, hey, would love to be able to stay in touch with you. Text marriage or married or whatever it is to 33777. You know what I mean? When they do that, and they'll receive a message once they text that prompts them to get their email and all of their information. So now I've got their telephone number, I've got their email, and on some of them we even get their mailing address, you know. And so when they do that, then for us, what they get is they get 6 different emails. Each one of those emails has a date night idea in it. And each one of those emails, they get 20, I think it's 20 conversation starters. Yeah, it's 20 conversation starters for that date night. And the reason is because we know that married couples, after they've been together for a long time, struggle to be able to get away from the mundane conversations. For Julie and I, dude, just 2 weeks ago, we brought our own conversation starters out because we were trying to really connect, and we couldn't think of any good questions to ask one another that weren't about work or weren't about kids. You know, we struggled with asking conversation starters or asking questions that would cause us to really begin to connect and discover one another again, because after 22 years, it's a little bit more challenged to discover one another than it was 6 months into our dating relationship. So couples get those because we know that it will help them. And when they experience it and actually use it, then it's going to help them. And they're probably going to want to know more things from us. But we've collected their data in the meantime. Once we've got them on that email list, there's a couple of things that begin to happen. We need to make sure that we're adding value to them all the time. So we've already given them a freebie that what it cost them was to give us their email address. So over the course of 6 weeks, they get value added to them with a new date night idea and 20 conversation starters for that date night. From there, they're also getting a weekly blog from us, something that's meaningful about their marriage. And typically it's, you know, we're changing it up, and we had somebody ghostwriting some of it using some of our old material from it, but we're pulling it back in-house so that we can begin to write those, because we didn't feel that they were as powerful as what they could be in being very, very real about some of the challenges that we face and that couples face. So what we're doing is we're building rapport with them. We're showing them that we understand what it's like to be them. we feel like they feel sometimes, or we felt like they feel sometimes. This is what you want to do. You want to be able to hook them in by giving them something. Now, maybe you're not doing a lot of speaking engagements or a lot of radio interviews or things of that nature, but don't let what you can't do or what you're not doing keep you from doing what you can do. How can you leverage that? Maybe it's through a Facebook post. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Whereas you ask people questions, you ask questions to find out, what are your clients' pain points? What are you struggling with? And if you just ask them that question openly, they're probably not going to know. You know what I mean? Many of them won't. But if you start talking about, hey, car salespeople, or hey, salespeople, do you struggle being effective on the phones? An effective sales, phone conversation means that you make 5 telephone calls, and out of one of those, you get an appointment for somebody to come in. That's what success looks like. How many phone calls are you making on any given day? How many prospects, like you begin to engage them and reveal their pain point. If this sounds like you, then I've got a solution for you. Go here and get access to a free video that will walk you through what I've used for years and have trained hundreds of other top dealerships on. No question about whether it works. Guaranteed, if you use it, it works. And I'm going to give it to you free. Here's the link. Boom. They go there, and in order to get that, they've got to enter in their information, right? Now you're growing your list. Now, instead of pounding the same 100 people, dude, you're growing your list, and you just give that thing away as often as possible. And you can do some paid ads. You can do some paid ads on Facebook. They're not that expensive, dude. You can toy around with it and toy with some different languaging to see what works. And I think that that's one way that you can begin to do it. I think the other thing that you are doing that you can do more of is determine how many calls you need to make a week, how many of those secret shoppers. It seems really time consuming, but if you can offer the dealerships an answer to a problem that they have and do that for free, then again, you've built some rapport, and it gives you permission to be able to ask them if you can help them on a deeper level and offer. Maybe you sell a license to their dealership for access for all of their agents. So there's 2 business models, like you said. There's one that you can sell both, though. You can sell a license that costs X amount per year, and they get full access to all of these training videos. And for X amount more, you'll even do some personal, meetings with their team. But that's a premium upsell, right? So that's one part of your business model. The second part is going out there and fishing for those individuals that are going, my dealership doesn't have to browbeat me to get me to try to get better. I'm the one who benefits from growing here. I'm willing to invest in myself and buy Bart's program, right? Does that sound like a pathway that you can begin to implement, and that you can begin to think about, okay, how can I get creative about getting those emails and giving away this one free thing, and maybe
Yes.
for a little while?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Bart, I need you to try to focus on one pathway for a little while. Okay.
Mhm.
One pathway will lead to another pathway, but if you try to do everything at once, I believe you're going to undermine yourself. When we were in life and health insurance sales, one of the things that I taught my agents is it's no one thing is in your success. It's not any one thing, if you will, that's going to lead to your success. It's a series of doing the right thing. So one of the things that we would do in the beginning is we would have them, we would get them some yard signs. So, you've seen them: free health insurance, affordable, free health insurance quote, or affordable health insurance quote. You've seen them along the roads probably at some point or another. Well, I would personally, I would get at least 100 of those for myself. And I would go to a town, one little town, and I would plant those freaking things on every high traffic area I could find. If there was a Walmart in that town, you're going to see that freaking sign 7 times before you got to Walmart. If there was a popular restaurant or a grocery store, I was making sure that that thing was on every pathway coming into it and that you would see it not only once, but you'd see it several times. If I was going to plant one sign in that town, I was going to plant 50. And if I was going to plant 50 signs, then I was also going to have an ad in their, what do they call it? The one of those little sales newspapers, you know, where people run personal ads and things of that nature, like a something nickel, you know, little magazines like that, or their local newspaper. And I'd run an ad in that newspaper, and I'd run it consistently for no less than 3 months. I would put little tear tabs. If there was a laundromat, if there was a freaking grocery store, if there was anywhere where there were bulletins, I'd go in there and I would create a sign that said something like, on a piece of paper that said something like, if you're struggling to find affordable health insurance, call me, or something like that. And then I would literally have, like, somebody that's selling their lawnmower, you know what I mean, little tear tabs so they could just tear my telephone number off of there, right? My point is that I saturated that market. I had some agents that would go out, and this is why I'm saying this, and they would come back and they will have planted 3 signs in a town. And I'm like, and then they planted 3 more in another town, and 3 more in another town, and 3 more in another town. I'm like, you wasted every single one. You need to go back and collect them all, you know, because you're going to have to hit your prospect over and over and over again. It takes usually about 7 times before they will actually act on what it is that they've seen. So you got to keep it in front of them. So you want to begin to think right now this week, your assignment is to begin to think, how can I begin to give away my most valuable email? What are the ways that I can reach people? How can I reach other people? And begin to think creatively about what you can do to reach those people so that you can add to your list and give this video away. Now, once you give that video away and you've got them on the list, what are they going to begin to get next? And this is where what we do becomes, you've got a lot of stuff that you can give away as value. I don't want you to give everything away, but what are you going to do to continue to keep them on that list, to keep them engaged? You know, how can you continually add some value and keep Bart in front of them? And what's your first sales offer that you're going to be able to make to them? Okay. So that's probably the one thing that I would begin. Let's focus on this program and this product and begin to develop a pathway. You call it a funnel, call it a sales ladder, call it whatever the flip you want to. But the bottom line is it's a pathway for your prospect to find you, gain value, begin to think to themselves, Bart knows me. Bart knows my pain points. Bart knows how to help me. And this guy is relatable and I like Bart. I want to work with Bart, right? So that you can build a pathway that takes them from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, as they're able to engage with you. Some of those people, and I know I've talked a lot in this piece, some of those people, I want you to write down 80-20. You know of the Pareto principle, right? The Pareto principle as it applies here is the 80-20 rule. You've got 100 contacts, 20% of those contacts are going to be willing to spend something with you. 20% of those contacts are going to be willing to spend 5 times that with you. 20% of those contacts are going to be willing to spend 5 times of that as well, or more. You know what I mean? So it's incremental, and you've got to learn where that's at. But I'm saying this so that you understand that not everybody that you pull in is actually going to do something, but there's 20% of them you bet your ass are going to do something. Okay. Just give them the opportunity. Yeah. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Perfect.
Good.
Perfect.
Let's just give you some action items so that you can press forward this week and begin to work and begin to think. I want you not to just think in one session, Bart. I want to encourage you to spend some time praying and thinking and taking notes about what you can begin to do to capture emails. We need to get this email list growing so that you've got prospects, so that eventually you're not having to hammer the phones all the time to do this, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that may be you need to purchase some lists. If you need to purchase some lists, look at that as an option. Just begin to explore some different ideas on how you can begin to grow your email list and what you're going to do with those people once you've got them on the email list to add value to them so that they'll want to do business with you. That's what you're headed towards.
Got it.
Once we get people to, for instance, right now, the big thing is the date night ideas. Once we get people to engage in that, then they're getting the weekly blog, which continually gives them encouragement, and things of that nature. But we also send them emails talking about, hey, we have this particular group study or this particular study that you can do right in the comfort of your own home. For $99, we're running a flash sale, or for $49, we're running a flash sale. Jump in on this, get this. It'll help you have one meaningful conversation each week about your marriage, And then once they buy that, then 20% of those will probably buy the whole membership for the entire year, So we offer them the opportunity. Hey, in fact, we'll even let you put that 99 or that 49 or whatever that you did. So listen, I don't want to overwhelm you. I'm just trying to kind of give you so that you begin to see, oh, okay, so that's how you pull them a little deeper and a little deeper into the real funnel, right? To get them to pop out right exactly where you want them to be.
Got it. So what's the first, I'm going to be doing where I'm at as we land this, because you got to go and so do I, but I did a video that's going to go on that landing page. And I'm going to do a YouTube video that talks directly to salespeople. So I guess kind of where, before we got on the phone, I'm thinking, let's get this boot camp going to get some emails for individual salespeople.
That's fine.
And then the next sell would be, hey, for $29 a month, why don't you join a subscription and you can have the video training network. So that was kind of the end result being the platform. But first of all, one strategy is let's see if we can do this boot camp. Let's put that YouTube video up there and let's see if we can get some momentum with that.
The boot camp listen, stop. I'm sorry. The boot camp's 45 videos though, right?
No. The boot camp is a webinar that we would do, a free webinar. And then from that free webinar, we ask them, hey, let's do 6 weeks. It's $99. It's an hour a week. And we're going to walk you through the 12 steps of a sale.
Okay.
Now, if they say yes, now they're in the boot camp. From there, hey, how would you like to know this stuff and be able to practice it? Maybe the second weekend. Maybe we make the offering right away. I don't know. Hey, now that you're in the boot camp, how would you like to be able to look at this every week so you can study it on your own time? For $49, you can have 3.5 hours of video on everything we're going to cover in the boot camp.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Am I wrong or right?
No, I think you're okay. What I was concerned with is if you were giving away all the 45 because you're giving too much value.
Right.
And
No.
fat. What you want to do is make them hungry,
Right.
So you want to give them value that makes them go, hell yeah, dude, that helped. Like I'm doing what Bart said and it's improved my results. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's next, Bart? Because how can I multiply what I'm doing already by 10? And you've got the answer.
So I do the video, then I say, hey man, go ahead and click here, get me your email, we'll get you signed up for the boot camp. Once they do that, I want somebody to show me, hey, you said no, let me give you a free video on how to handle objections. So if they say yes, they're in the boot camp. If they say no, I send them a free video.
That's good. That's perfect. The key is gaining more prospects. And that's what I want you to obsess about.
Okay.
Is you've got a good pathway here, Bart. And this pathway, a lot of these people, as you build this, are going to want more than just car sales stuff, to get you where you ultimately want to go. And if they don't, then all we need to do is we need to kind of repeat the exact same process with different material.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? To build a different list. Okay.
So my goal, my end in mind, here's what I got from this, buddy. My end in mind, the platform, period. We're going to call it the platform. That's the period. We're going to develop that as we go along, but I'm not even worried about that today. The end in mind is a platform. The goal is to capture emails.
That's exactly right.
Daily goal. Got to capture emails.
And you
Gotta get,
capture emails by one or two. Well, you capture emails and however you can capture their freaking emails by adding value, because when they opt in, if you buy a list, you would put that in your CRM or your email list, as a completely separate list. You don't want that as your primary list.
mhm,
Get some responses from that list of people opting into something, then they would move over onto your more qualified list of people who actually opted in, okay, as
right,
an example. But ultimately, what you want is, rather than cold called email blasting freaking spamming people, what you want is you want more qualified prospects. What's a qualified prospect? Somebody that opted in because you had something that they wanted.
right.
So
Got it.
however you can get that out there, however you can get that out there.
Okay, I'm on it.
But if you're having a webinar, then you've got to get people on the webinar. So how are you going to get them on there, right?
Mm.
That's what we need to be thinking about.
All right. Gotcha.
We want to get to the 10th floor, but we got to get to the first floor before we can get to the 10th floor.
Yeah, yeah. This has been valuable, very valuable for me.
Good, Bart. Good. I'm glad to hear that, buddy.
Yeah,
Listen,
it really has. Yeah,
got
I
to
love the way you communicate. You're real clear. So thank you for that.
good, good, good. Well, listen, man, I love you, brother. Hang in
Love
there.
you, man.
Don't forget, think. You're obsessing this week about what am I going to do to get people to attend the webinar so that I can get them on the list, if that's
Got it.
the entry point. Okay.
All right. You got
I'm
it.
out, dude.
One thing, the one thing. All right.
That's it. That's it.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Be
Thank
good.
you so much.